If you don't already use LinkedIn, you should. That's tip number one. You already have your own personal rotation of social media apps that you go on throughout the day. Make LinkedIn one of them. You never know what interesting content or interesting people you may find. There's nothing else on this slide. Just start using it. It's important for your profile to look great. Have a professional, clear, good looking headshot available. The headshot in this picture of my own LinkedIn was taken on my iPhone on my apartment balcony. You do not necessarily have to secure a professional photographer to do a headshot, but you should have a business look and feel to your LinkedIn profile picture. By default, the headline that shows up under your name is the title of your current position. And when you browse LinkedIn, you'll see that most people don't change this default. I would recommend to look for other alternatives. First of all, it's a little boring just to have your current job as your headline. The headline is about you, and you are more than your current job. Also, if you're someone who's job searching, there are things that are more relevant for other people to know than what your current title and job is. Think about what words you want people to see about you on every post and every comment that would make them think, maybe I should look more into this person for a job opportunity that I might have. My current headline at the time of typing this is Civic Educator Advocating for Inclusive Democracy. This is one of several different headlines that I've had while working for FIU in DC, and I think each of the different headlines that I've had has different purposes. So it's really up to you what you want to accomplish with your headline. The thing that I want to accomplish with this current headline is demonstrating my passion for helping other people learn about how our government and democracy works and making that democracy more inclusive of all people. These words may or may not be targeted to any specific job posting that I'm looking for. In this particular version, I'm not looking to tie myself to a particular job description, but to exude kind of passion for what my career mission is in my mind and brand myself as caring most about these things. Another headline that I've had is simply FIU in Washington, D.C., which is similar to people who have their current job as their title, but it removes any sense of my title, um, showing that, hey, I'm affiliated with FIU, I'm in Washington, D.C., um, and I want you to know that, but, I'm not saying that I'm an associate director or any other position. You don't know what that means, what I do because of that title. So you can show your affiliation with your employer or school if that's what you want to highlight. I've also used words like talent development, which might be more aligned with trying to target myself towards a particular career branding. So if you wanted to work in the talent development industry, for example, you can make sure that those words are in your headline so that people know that is what you're all about. The experience section of your LinkedIn should be well organized and include as much information as possible. One thing I see on a lot of people's LinkedIn experience pages that needs improvement is simply the overall look and feel of it. Many people might work for Florida International University, but the logo doesn't show up, for example, because when they were filling out the profile, for whatever reason, LinkedIn didn't attach it to FIU's official profile, so it's just a blank gray cube next to it instead of the FIU logo. Always try to make sure if you're trying to show your connection to your current and previous employers that you link to their official pages and get their logos. Of course, if you don't want yourself showing up when people search for employees or former employees of those organizations, that might be a reason not to do that, but it certainly looks a lot better when you see the names and logos of your employer in a presentable fashion. Also, LinkedIn, you can see here, has the feature where all of your different positions within one organization can show up under one heading. I think this looks a lot better and more organized than having each job within the same organization show up as a totally new entry. You can choose to just copy and paste your resume bullet points into your LinkedIn profile. That's fine. I've taken the opportunity in this example to add an introductory paragraph that I wouldn't bog down my resume with, but that gives an overall overview of the positions that I've held at FIU while focusing on a few specific skills for each one as opposed to the full resume bullet points that I have, which are rather lengthy. So you can decide what's best for you there. LinkedIn also has a option to attach files that can demonstrate some of your work products, which is something worth using if you have such examples to share. One fun feature of LinkedIn is articles. It's so easy to write an article. All you have to do is hit the write article button underneath the post feature. I'm not gonna lie, I've not done this much. I've really only written this one article that connected various movies, TV shows, and books that I like about Washington, D.C. into my own career experience moving here and working in Washington, D.C. If you have something interesting to say, posting a long form article might be a great way to share your thoughts about your professional experience in a longer format than a standard post. Keep in mind that this is a um, display of your writing ability. So if these articles are not well written or proofread, somebody can see that your writing skills need improvement. You should be using this feature to show off your writing skills and make sure that everything is up to snuff. There are a few other random recommendation and skills as features on LinkedIn that you can use. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of the skills feature. I feel it does not really add a lot of context or detail as to why you are good at those skills. And I feel people are constantly asking for endorsements in skills or endorsing you in skills that might not be highly specific to you. So I more or less ignore that, but it's there. I do like the recommendations feature. I think it's appropriate to ask for recommendations from people that you have a good relationship with and that that can speak to your abilities in the workplace. And when you gather a nice set of recommendations, it is something that people can see, hey, a lot of people have had a good experience with this individual, and they can read the specific details of that recommendation. Nothing is more important to me personally than recommendations from students that I've worked with. While all those features exist, LinkedIn at the end of the day is kind of Facebook, but for a professional setting. So you are going to find the ability to write posts about something that's on your mind. What should you write about? You can really write about anything. Um, there are arguments on Facebook that it has to relate to your job, it has to be professional setting, but really you can write anything on LinkedIn. So I have to think about LinkedIn versus Facebook or other social media platforms, not as which type of content do I want on it, but which audience do I want to see my content. So my Facebook is more or less, my personal friends, people that I went to college with, etc. My LinkedIn is my current professional network. A lot of other people that work in Washington, D.C. or in higher education. So it's as simple as if I have something on my mind, if I have an article I want to share, if I have a thought that I want to get out there, which group of people do I want seeing it? If you feel that you want your professional network to see something, then post it on LinkedIn. This sample post that I have here is hardly my most popular post. It only got a few likes and comments, but I wanted to share it as an example because I think it does a few things all in one post, which are things that I recommend. First and foremost is sharing interesting content relevant to your career. As part of FIU in DC, I am in a governmental relations role, so I like to share articles about government. This particular article is about the Federal Election Commission, which is a federal government agency. I found it interesting. It's about government. I wanted to share it. Now, it's also written by an FIU alumna. So I'm doing two things by sharing someone else's article that I know. First and foremost, I think it's great to highlight other people's work on LinkedIn. You're building a professional network. Uh, you would like other people to kind of say, hey, Eric's up to cool stuff. Then I can take the time to say that, my other contacts are up to cool stuff. So I thought this article was interesting. I want to highlight not just the content of the article, but that it was written by someone that I know in my network, who I think is great, and other people who are interested in content like this should maybe follow her. So people really appreciate you calling them out. Now, in my particular example, I work for Florida International University. So pointing out that the people that I'm referencing in this post are FIU graduates also kind of is an advertisement for my employer in a way. It never hurts to post things that make your employer look good. But it's not just for the point of being an advertisement or billboard for your employer. It's about connecting it to the work that you're doing. So people on LinkedIn know that I'm working at FIU to build our community of alumni and to help them make a policy impact. This is an example of highlighting the individuals who are doing it and what they're doing, and also that they are part of the FIU infrastructure in doing that. But at the end of the day, it's an interesting article. I'm sharing great content without just wanting to be an advertisement for FIU. So that's one example. You can really post whatever you would like. We've talked a lot about your profile, what it should have on it, what you should post from it. Of course, the thing that people usually think about first when it comes to LinkedIn is to meet people on it, to network. It is absolutely positively the case that LinkedIn is the best way to find people that you should be talking to and to talk to them. If you ever read an article out on the internet by someone or hear someone on a panel discussion or otherwise come across the name of a person that you find professionally interesting, network with them. Go on LinkedIn, type in the name, find their profile, send them a connection request. There's the big question of when you connect with someone, should you send them a personalized message explaining why you are connecting with them? Yes. Now, I don't do this for every single person that I connect with, and I sometimes accept people who don't do this to me. But generally speaking, it never hurts to introduce yourself to someone, especially if you've not interacted with them before. So I might look at someone's profile and say, hey, they work in Washington, D.C. with an organization that we've had an intern at before, sure, I'll accept them. Or they go to FIU, sure, I'll accept them. But I definitely like getting the messages, knowing why someone's connecting with me. And if somebody knows that you're interested in their work, then they are more willing to connect with you to take advantage of that feature. When you are reaching out to someone through a connection request or through a message of any other kind, definitely focus on explaining why you're interested in their work, but refrain from asking them for a job directly or anything of that nature. Most people on LinkedIn and in the professional world are interested in helping you with your career development, but they might not have jobs available at their own organization right now. So if you say, I'm contacting you because I'd like a job at your organization, if they don't have a job available or they feel like they don't know you in a way that they could refer you for a job, they might not respond because they have nothing left to offer you. You only came asking for one thing, and that one thing might not be at the table at the moment. But if you say, hey, I see you work in technology regulation, I'm very interested in technology relation because of this experience, looking to get to know what people are up to in this area. Many people will be likely to respond to that sort of thing. And if you make a good impression on them and have a conversation with them over Zoom or in person after connecting with them, and they say, hey, this person I just met from FIU seems really aware of the latest trends in technology regulation. It might not be that week, it might not be that month, but eventually you could hear from them again. Hey, I know we talked a few months ago and we have this job available now. Are you interested in applying? That kind of stuff happens. It's about making genuine connections over shared professional interests. In addition to looking up the names directly of people that you might have heard of and want to connect with, you can use LinkedIn's filtering search features to find people that are at certain universities that work in certain companies. So let's say you want to find people who work at Facebook and who went to FIU. You can go to the search bar, you can put Facebook as the company, you can put Florida International University as the school, and you're going to get a list of every FIU graduate who works at Facebook, and that's a pretty valuable thing. You can also use the level of connections feature. I in the screenshot put second, meaning that it's only people who know someone that I know, which is also a way to increase kind of that familiar feeling when you reach out to them. You can also see who the common connections are. So if that's someone you know well, you can even say in the message, hey, I see we both know so and so. This particular screenshot suggests getting LinkedIn Premium to send people who you're not connected with in mail. In mail, even if you're not connected to the person, will show up as a private message, which is more visible. Look, LinkedIn Premium comes with a trial version. There's no reason not to try the trial and make your own decision about whether it is worth the cost or not. Personally speaking, I've tried it. I think most of the essential features of LinkedIn, all of the ones we've talked about here today, including filtering and searching for people and reaching out to people who you're not currently connected with a personalized message, are all things you can do without LinkedIn Premium. So all of the great stuff that we've discussed today are things that you can do on LinkedIn absolutely free.